Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa. Let's carry on with Maharaj Bharat. 3 lives. So, such a long pastime, so many things happening. And as we discussed, that Maharaj Bharat Maharaj, he fell down from his exalted position because of attachment to a deer. But Krishna helped him by letting him remember what had happened so he could continue. Whereas we don't have that facility. Maybe in the last life, we were getting somewhere and then we fell down and then we don't remember, right? So it's just down to Krishna to give us the opportunity again. But we don't have any memory of that, whereas Maharaj Bharat did have some memory of his position, so he could make the right adjustment even in the lifetime of the deer. And then as next, now we're talking about Jada Bharat, so he still remembers his position and he's doing all the right actions to make sure he does not repeat his mistake in any way and advances in his bhakti. So Hare Krishna. So Srila Shukadev Goswami continued, my dear king, after giving up the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj took birth in a very pure Brahman family. There was a Brahman who belonged to the dynasty of Angira. He was fully qualified with Brahmanical qualifications. He could control his mind and senses, and he had studied the Vedic literatures and other subsidiary literatures. He was expert in giving charity, and he was always satisfied, tolerant, very gentle, learned, and non-envious. He was self-realized and engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He remained always in a trance. He had 9 equally qualified sons by his first wife, and by his second wife he begot twins, a brother and a sister, of which the male child was said to be the topmost devotee and foremost of saintly kings, which was Bharat Maharaj. This then is the story of the birth he took after giving up the body of a deer. So Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee, but he did not attain success in one life, as we discussed. And in Bhagavad-Gita, it is said that a devotee who does not fulfill his devotional duties in one life is given the chance to be born in a fully qualified Brahman family or a rich Kshatriya or Vaishya family. Shuchinam Shripatam Gehe. Bharat Maharaj was the firstborn son of Maharaj Rishabh or Rishabdev in a rich Kshatriya family, but due to his willful negligence of his spiritual duties. So he says willful. So, he had a choice and he chose to be negligent of his spiritual duties and his excessive attachment to the insignificant deer. He was obliged to take birth as the son of a deer. However, due to his strong position as a devotee, he was gifted with the remembrance of his past life. Being repentant, he remained in a solitary forest and always thought of Krishna. Then he was given the chance to take birth in a very good Brahman family. So this is the now situation with Maharaj Bharat or Jada Bharat, as is described now. Let's pray. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpata Mamande Shri Guru Dev Taranam Ram Ananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hariyam Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Madhuriyat Nashtam Prisha Badhureshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestaki. So due to his being especially gifted with the Lord's mercy, Bharat Maharaj could remember the incidents of his past life, although he received the body of a Brahman. He was still, so he's a Kshatriya when he was Bharat Maharaj, now he's Jada Bharat and he's in the body of a Brahman. He was still very much afraid of his relatives and friends who were not devotees. He was always very cautious of such association because he feared that he would again fall down. So, yeah, so he's really determined and desperate to make sure he does not do anything wrong ever again. Consequently, he manifested himself before the public eye as a madman. So he's gone to great lengths, he's gone to extremes to make sure he reaches his goal. Dull, blind, and deaf, so that others would not try to talk to him. In this way, he saved himself from bad association. Within, he was always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting the Lord's glories, which save one from the bondage of fruitive action. In this way, he saved himself from the onslaught of non-devotee associates. Every living entity is bound by different activities due to the association with the modes of nature. As stated in Bhagavad-Gita, Karanam Guna Sango Asya Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. This is due to his association with this material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. So that's in the Bhagavad Gita mentioned. We get different types of bodies among 8.4 million species according to our karma. Karmana Deva Nitrena. We work under the influence of material nature contaminated by the three modes, and thus we get a certain type of body according to superior order. This is called karambandha or karambandh. To get out of this karambandh, we must engage, one must engage himself in devotional service. Then one will not be affected by the modes of material nature. So this is the power of devotional service. Mamcha yo vabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samiti yaitan brahma bhuya kalpate. So one who engages in full devotion service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So that is the promise of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that if you stick to full devotion service, then there's a good opportunity that you will not fall down and you won't be controlled by the three modes. To remain immune from the material qualities, one must engage himself in devotional service. Sharanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarnam. That is the perfection of life. When Maharaj Bharat took birth as a Brahman, he was not very interested in the duties of a Brahman. But within he remained a pure Vaishnav, always thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is very interesting that normally, it's mentioned that we should follow one ashrama dharma, but it seems that being a Vaishnav is in higher position than even being a Brahman. So, it didn't really matter whether you followed this one ashrama dharma or not, according to Srila Prabhupada. As advised in Bhagavad Gita, man mana bhav mad bhakto mad jaji ma namaskru. This is the only process by which one can be saved from the danger of repeated birth and death. The Brahman father's mind was always filled with affection for his son, Jada Bharata. Therefore, he was always attached to Jada Bharata because Jada Bharata was unfit to enter the Grihastha ashram because he acted like a dull person who couldn't learn anything, didn't understand anything. So it would be unfair to marry him to someone's daughter, and because it would not work out. He simply executed the purificatory process up to the end of the brahmachari ashram. Although Jada Bharata was unwilling to accept his father's instructions, the Brahman nonetheless instructed him in how to keep clean and how to wash, thinking that the son should be taught by the father. So at least he wanted to teach him the basics. Jada Bharata was Bharat Maharaj in the body of a Brahman. He outwardly conducted himself as if he were dull, deaf, dumb, and blind. Actually, he was quite alert within. So his father was very tolerant. I mean, normally when you know a child is okay, but he still, wants to not cooperate, then it can be quite frustrating, I can understand. But his father was very tolerant. Actually, he was quite alert within. He knew perfectly well of the results of root activity and the results of devotion service. In the body of Brahman, Maharaj Bharat was completely absorbed in devotion service within, or maybe his father knew more than we think. Therefore, it was not all necessary for him to execute the directory principles of root activity. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Spanustit Tasya Dharmasya Samasadir Hari Toshanam. One has to satisfy Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the perfection of the regulative principles of root activity. Besides this, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma Spanustita Pumsam Vishvaksena Khatasuya not Yed Yadi Ratim Sharm Eva Hi Kevalam. So dharma or duties executed by men, regardless of occupation, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Lord. So that's the key. That whatever you're doing, it must provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Lord. If it's not, then it's just waste of time. These karma kand activities are required as long as one has not developed Krishna consciousness. If one is developed in Krishna consciousness, there is no need to execute the prior regulative principles of karma kand. Srila Madhavendra Puri said, "Oh, regulative principles of karma kand, please excuse me. I cannot follow all these regulative principles, for I am fully engaged in devotion service." So devotion service gets priority in the yoga ladder. He expressed the desire to be sit somewhere beneath a tree and continue chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Consequently, he did not execute all the regulative principles. Similarly, Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family. From the very beginning of his life, he was never trained in the Karma Kand system. But because he was always chanting the holy name of the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as the Namacharya, the authority in chanting the holy name, as Jada Bharata. Bharat Maharaj was always engaged in devotion service within his mind. Since he had executed his directive principles continuously for 3 lives, he was not interested in continuing to execute them, although his Brahman father wanted him to do so. Excuse me. Jada Bharat behaved before his father like a fool, despite his father's adequately instructing him in Vedic knowledge, because the Brahman, he's supposed to know all these things. His brothers know all these things. They have all this knowledge and they make their living by it. So how would he make a living if he doesn't have anything to offer? He behaved in that way so his father would know that he was unfit for instruction and would abandon the attempt to instruct him further. He would behave in a completely opposite way. Although instructed to wash his hands after evacuating, he would wash them before. Nonetheless, his father wanted to give him Vedic instructions during the spring and summer. He tried to teach him the Gayatri Mantra along with Omkara and Viharati. But after 4 months, his father still was not successful in instructing him. The Brahman, father of Jada Bharat, considered his son his heart and soul. He still loved him, even though he did not listen to him, didn't take the instruction. He still had great feelings for him. This is amazing. And therefore, he was very much attached to him. He thought it wise to educate his son properly, and being absorbed in this unsuccessful endeavor, he tried to teach his son the rules and regulations of brahmacharya, including the execution of the Vedic vows, cleanliness, study of the Vedas, the regulative methods, service to the spiritual master, and the method of offering a fire sacrifice. He tried his best to teach his son this way, but all his endeavors failed. In his heart, he hoped that his son would be a learned scholar, but all his attempts were unsuccessful. Like everyone, this Brahman was attached to his home. and he had forgotten that someday he would die. Death, however, was not forgetful. At the time, proper time, death appeared and took him away. So his father has passed away, and Jada Bharat is now at the mercy of his brothers. So what happens? Therefore, the Brahman's younger wife, after instructing her twin children, the boy and girl, to the elder wife, departed from Patilok, voluntarily dying with her husband. So he had two wives. The younger one has become Sati with him. She has also left, and she is interested Jada Bharat and his sister. Um, I'm a bit lost there. Anyway, she had two children, and she has passed them on to the elder wife. After the father died, the nine stepbrothers of Jada Bharat, so he was the twin brother. The nine stepbrothers of Jada Bharat, who considered Jada Bharat dull and brainless, abandoned the father's attempt to give Jada Bharat a complete education. The stepbrothers of Jada Bharat were learned in three Vedas: Rig, Sam Veda, and Yajur Veda. Which very much encouraged fruity activity. The nine brothers were not at all spiritually enlightened in devotion service to the Lord. Consequently, they couldn't understand the highly exalted position of Jada Bharat. Maybe his father understood something, but the brothers, they spending waste of time, and they're not going to spend any time on him. Degraded men are actually no better than animals. The only difference is that animals have four legs and such men have only two. So what makes us human is really what's in the head, uh, you know, in the consciousness, how awakened our consciousness is, because it says here that if our consciousness is like animal, then we are basically animals. These two-legged animalistic men used to call Jada Bharat mad, dull, deaf, and dumb. They mistreated him, and Jada Bharat behaved for them like a madman who was deaf, blind, or dull. He did not protest or try to convince them that he was not so. If others wanted him to do something, he acted according to their desires. Whatever food he could acquire by begging or by wages, and whatever came of its own accord, be it small quantity, palatable, stale, or tasteless, he would accept and eat. He never ate anything for sense gratification because he was already liberated from the bodily conception, which induces one to accept palatable or unpalatable food. He was fully in transcendental consciousness of devotion service, and therefore he was unaffected by the dualities arising from the bodily conception. Actually, his body was as strong as a bull's, and his limbs were very muscular. He did not care for winter or summer, wind or rain, and he never covered his body at any time. He lay on the ground and never smeared oil on his body or took a bath. Because his body was dirty, his spiritual effulgence of knowledge were covered, just as the splendor of a valuable gem is covered by dirt. He only wore a dirty loincloth and his sacred thread. So at least he kept his thread, right? Which was blackish. Understanding that he was born in a Brahma family, people would call him a Brahm Bandhu and other names. Being thus insulted and neglected by the materialistic people, he wandered here and there. So one mistake, he sacrificed so much. One mistake, and look, he's had to suffer so much. First, he had to become an animal, deer, and now he's had to behave in such a way, take so much insult from everyone, so he can correct his mistake. So it's very dangerous. So, we have this opportunity. We have to be careful that we take full advantage of this, because will we ever get another opportunity again soon? I don't know. Will we even get a human body? Hopefully, yes. But will we remember service? I hope so. But Will we make the same excuses in our next life? Possibly. So we have to be very careful that we take full advantage of what we have right now. We are there in the right path, and make sure we don't take any lefts or right turn. We can go straight to where we're supposed to be heading. So thank you so much, Hina Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Madhav Shamsundar Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, Pundrikaksh Prabhu, and Sarashriya Mataji. Thank you all for joining. And let's today we'll ask Sarashriya Mataji, because she always ends up in the end, and everybody has already said things. And so we'd love to hear from Sarashriya Mataji. And please give us your feedback. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Very nice class, and so many things to learn from the Bharat Maharaj, and how to lead your life and how to act. And especially it's a devotional service, the mind key devotional service is so powerful that it never goes in vain. Like Bharat Maharaj, he did his devotional service when he took the birth of Dia. He could remember his devotional service. And sometimes, like when we read about the Gajendra Moksha, and when he was in Danja, he remembered what he was in last life, and he started praying to Krishna. So it's very important for us to do devotional service, and this devotional service, I mean, it carries with us in our next life where we live. It will go, you're gonna carry from that, and you will remember. That's why you see so many small children. I mean, they are born and they're so Krishna conscious. They know everything because they must have done in their next life, so they can carry on and born. They say, if you can't finish your devotional service, you're going to be born in a Brahmana family or rich Kshatriya family or Vaishya family, and then you have the good facilities, and you can carry on from there. And we are born because our karma, and because our karma, we get material nature, whether goodness, passion, or ignorance. And it's natural. What you are born, you're gonna act like that, because as soon as the dog is born, he's gonna act like a dog. So human, if you are born in mode of ignorance, you're gonna act like a mode of ignorance. So, but with the association, you can improve it. And so Maharaj Bharati always, he didn't want to, he was act like dumb because he didn't want to associate with uh, the material people. He wanted always to be keep quiet himself, so he can remember he won't do the mistake what he did in his previous life. And satisfaction is very important in our life, because when you're satisfied, your mind is satisfied and you are happy. If you're not satisfied, you'll never be happy. So Maharaj Bharati was, whatever he was given, in whatever condition he was always, he never complained, he was always happy. And he because he wanted, he don't want to repeat what had happened in his previous life. So he wanted a better life. So we should do the devotional service as well, Krishna, and we have to better our life. We can now. This is the time to make ourselves better for prepare for next life. Either what kind of material nature you have. So devotional service in Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad-Gita, all what it says about all of the devotional devotional service, devotional service. There's no other way. Not, karma can't, and all these, but we can't compare with devotional service, because devotional service is on the top of the list. And if you want to leave this material world, this suffering, then you have to do devotional service. Without devotional service, you can't go back to Godhead. So we have to um, with our mind, body, and speech. Both we have to read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, and have a section with those devotees and follow their way. Some devotees, the acharyas and everyhow we follow, and so keep ourselves, fit for our next life so we can reach to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Hare,
so much. Sorry, Mataji, carry on. Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you so much. Yes, devotion service is our safety zone, you could say, and it's also the gateway to going back home. It seems, and so we have to stay close to that gateway. And somebody might question that why do we have why is it all about service? Why do we have why is a safety zone? Why is that the gateway? Because that is our relationship with Krishna. Our relationship of the soul with the super soul or with Krishna is based on service, loving service, loving devotional service. So that is a relationship we have with him, and that's what we have to awaken. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hina Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Nanmat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. I really like these chapters at the moment, so really enjoying it. But just a couple of points from me. I was just thinking about how fortunate Jada Bharata was. He could remember his previous lives. Obviously, we're not in that same boat, but you can guarantee that we do have come from very many unfortunate previous lives ourselves. And by Krishna's mercy, we've found this path. So it's almost like, okay, regardless of the fact we can't remember, but we definitely know we've probably had very similar unfortunate, wasteful lives, you could say. Devotion, and I was also thinking how, just to add to Mataji's point there, just around how devotional service is the only true wealth we really have. So for that reason, it should be our topmost priority, and that we should forget everything else. All other material pursuits are worthless, really, and a waste of time. That was it, really. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're still living in this world, doing all the material pursuits, and we do our devotion service, but we also need to spiritualize all our material pursuits, so everything should be spiritual, as well as doing spiritual activity. All our material activities should be spiritualized well. So, we're surrounded by spirituality. That's the target. That's what we're trying to achieve. That everything is spiritualized, nothing left to chance or left to material. And Jai Prabhu has mentioned few summary points. After having given up the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj took birth in a Brahma family at Jada Bharata. He was able to remember the activities of his past life and was very careful not to fall down again. To avoid the influence of non-devotees, he acted as though he was a deaf and dumb madman, and although he was thought of being crazy and dull, internally he was always chanting and thinking of Lord Vasudev. He tolerated all the insults and mistreatment that came his way from neighbors and family without protesting. He didn't identify with the body concept of life and did not eat for sense gratification. Thank you, Prabhuji. And you can see that Bharat Maharaj, he did have this mood of sacrifice. He always knew what he wanted, and he would go for it despite whatever he had to sacrifice for it. And he even sacrificed his bhakti at one point, but that was his mistake. So he had this sacrifice mood, and but he learned his lesson, and hopefully it works out. And Hare Krishna, Prabhu Mataji, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, and with pranam to everyone. That's very nice class again. Nice to hear from Sareshwari Mataji first. So I always wanted to hear first from her. So thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, a few points that stuck with me as like association of non-devotees, like in Nectar of Instruction. It gives you 6 conditions that are unfavorable for devotional service. And Jansanga is one of that. And then also from Jada Bharata, we learn how to be equipoised, not to be affected by the conditions, to be, not affected. And because he was not in the bodily conception, so he was liberated, and he was thinking of Krishna, 24/7. And like in my earlier days, what I heard from one of the Matajis, she said we have to remember Krishna, just like when somebody's having a love affair and they're thinking of their lover all the time. So that's how we have to be. They, although they carry on with their material duties because they don't want anybody to find out, and that's how we have to, we have to remember Krishna all the time. So I think that, it makes you understand things better because we're in this material life. And also, my mom used to say, "Bhojan, bhajan, paisa or nari." But like mom used to say, there are four things. मतलब चारों पर्दे के अधिकारी. And Jad Bharat, he did that. He kept his bhajan, you know, hidden from people because in his mind he was constantly thinking of the Lord. But to the world, he appeared dumb, dull, and blind. So so the point came to my mind, Prabhuji, are we doing the right thing, telling, oh yeah, I'm doing 16 rounds, I'm doing this, I'm reading this, because we are like telling everybody rather than just doing it. And so how right are we, because I won't say proudly, but we are happy that we are doing it, and we like to share with everybody.
You asking me, Mataji?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, we need to inspire people. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, we want to inspire people without scaring them, because sometimes somebody who's a neophyte and is really not has really started, they might get startled by, we tell them we do, we have to do so many rounds, we have to get up early in the morning, we have to do fasting, we have to do Ekadashi, we have to give up, this and that, poor regulations. We can scare them. So it depends on who you're speaking to. I guess we have to be gentle and make sure we don't scare them by
Yeah.
by too much information. You give information as you go along. It's like when it depends on who what stage that person is. You just give them that much information. That's the best thing. But
Mhm.
we try to inspire them bit by bit.
Yeah. No, but if somebody asks you, so what are you doing? Like some other Mataji, she asks you, so is it still okay to disclose everything you're doing then? So as long as we are doing it to inspire them, yes, I am doing this, this, this.
Yeah, like I said, if you give too much information, then you might scare them as well. I think Radharani wants to add something.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, it's best you describe them your journey, how it started for you. You didn't start
Yeah.
16 rounds in one day. And if you describe the slow process, they will get inspired that, yes, I will start taking baby steps first. And slowly and surely, I will also reach to the 16 round stage.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like people who are not Krishna conscious, like sometimes they make remarks because, like you say, yes, you're doing chanting, you're listening to this, and then they say, oh, you do a lot of part puja, or you pray for me. So that way, I'm thinking, so because they realize you're going to the temple, so then sometimes you hear all these remarks from them. So
I mean, you can say that once you get initiated, then it's compulsory. But they can do whatever. They can do 1 round. They can do 4 rounds. It's up to them. If somebody wants to chant, they can start in 1 round. It's okay. It's only once you have taken the step of getting initiated by a spiritual master, then you take vows to do certain things, and you have to stick to them. But if you're not initiated, then you do what you can, isn't it? So you take your steps step by step, stage by stage. You build it up. But especially, I mean, there might be people who have been in the mission for many, many years, and they're probably not doing 16 rounds. It's very possible. They're just doing a few rounds. It's their choice. Krishna gives a choice. He does not, You have, your own free will. It's up to you. You can choose to do 32 rounds, 64 rounds, 8 rounds, 4 rounds, 1 round, or no round, whatever. It's up to you. Krishna doesn't interfere in your free will. He leaves it to you how you want to do it. So, end of the day, you can tell them that if they want to try, and if somebody chants nicely, they really don't want to stop. They want to do more and more and more. You can just say, I'm doing this many. If they do insist that you tell them, or you can say, you try, see what you think, and then leave it to them.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Mataji, what was the 6 things you got to avoid?
Sorry.
You said there's 6 things.
Atyahara prayascha.
Okay.
It's overeating, like mundane talking, over endeavoring for mundane activities, greed. So 6 things like that.
Nectar instruction.
Nectar instruction. Yeah, it's verse 2.
Very nice. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Sorry, I say Pundrik Aksha. I say Pundrik Aksha. Isn't it Pundrik?
Aksha.
You have lotus eyes, Prabhu.
Not me. I'm Dasa of the person who has a lotus eyes. So, of the Lord. Yeah, Prabhuji. Few points like what I just thought is like in Jada Bharata, Bharat Maharaj, in the first life, he fall down with the association of deer. And in this lifetime, he tried to avoid the bad association. So from this, I'm thinking like not having bad association is correct, but at the same time, not having good association is a danger thing. So Bharat Maharaj was not having a good association in the first life rather than having any bad association. And my mother used to say one proverb whenever I used to be very pride in my life. So she says like in Telugu it says అన్ని ఉన్న ఆకు అణిగిమణి ఉంటుంది ఏమీ లేని ఆకు ఎగిరెగిరి పడుతుంది మీన్స్ in a banana leaf if you put everything then it won't jump, but if nothing is there then it start jumping. So generally people who do not have knowledge, no, they keep jumping for no reason, but people who have knowledge, they always try to be humble. So Bharat Maharaj having so much of knowledge, but still he remained humble, even though his brothers were treating him very badly. His father was trying to help him, but still he was acting as if he don't know anything. So that shows that one who has the correct knowledge, he will not jump like that. He will just stay calm and humble in the life. And his brothers were very well advanced in Vedas. But again, Prabhupada mentioned they are enlightened spiritually. So having the knowledge of Vedas means like doing all ritualistic activities for our own sense gratification is not the one which is required, but it is the spiritual, like devotional service, what is very much required. So yesterday I was listening to Gaurang Das Prabhu class, and he was saying that service is more important, as you said, Prabhuji. Service is more important. So Krishna consciousness means doing the service and involve in your consciousness in Krishna. So if you are doing a job, you do your job, but it doesn't mean that you just keep chanting and say that I'm remembering Krishna all the time, and so that's why I'm avoiding my job. No, you do it, but with the consciousness of Krishna, keeping Krishna in the center. Yeah, that's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu. So now there was a point came to my head, but it seems to have disappeared. But wonderful. Radhan, you want to say?
Yes. Thank you, Purikaksh Prabhu, and everyone else. Prabhuji, like the mom said that saying in Hindi, it says, Adjal gagari chalkat jai. The gagari or the ghada or the vessel which has got half measure of water, if you carry it, somebody carries it on the head, it will just be falling over for no reason. You can't walk very fast with it. So similarly, the person who hasn't got the total understanding of the bhakti, or they've understood everything, or they haven't got the bhav, they'll be showing off. So this is it. So we have to be very careful. All the points are very nice, and absolutely, like you said, association. The association is very important. We have to avoid the non-devotees. We have to stick with them for only very little time, as little time as possible, so that we don't get their qualities, because our mind is like that. It is going to just, copy or get influenced by others very quickly. And I've seen with Mataji's, this tendency is more so than the Prabhus. We have seen that us Matajis, the ladies are in so much, we are at that kind of consciousness we have got that we get very influenced. Oh, she's doing so much. Oh, let me do that. But we sometimes forget what is my health, what is my stage, what is my duties, how I am coping in my life. My circumstances are different. I don't have to just copy somebody else. I have to understand the teachings of the Shastras and, what Prabhupada said, that keep your consciousness just like a woman who is thinking of a lover all the time, but still in her marriage, she's acting so obediently, faithfully to her married life. So many examples, so much we have to remember. But yes, our bhakti, we should be so thankful that okay, we are in this degraded yuga, in these degraded bodies compared to the last yugas, but still we are still bhakti due to some sukritis we have done in our past lives. So we should not forget the main reason for our existence should be just to be in our bhakti of Krishna and try to get out of this life, because as these 10,000 golden years of Kali Yuga have started, after these 10,000 years disappear, we won't be given the human body again. Then we'll have to wait for another kalpa. So the choice is ours. That's all you have to remind yourself moment by moment. And of course, seva, bhakti. Bhakti was seva in every situation of our life. We have to remember that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very important. We don't compare ourselves. This is the thing. We don't compare ourselves to others. Don't compare yourself. You do what is possible for yourselves. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that you follow your own your devotion service. So your ashram. Don't copy somebody else's. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own mode. So we should not compare. This is where we get frustrated. You want to achieve, oh, so and so, why can't I get that? But you have to live your journey, let them live their journey. So everybody's different. Krishna says that don't compare yourself to others. Do your thing. Hare Krishna. Anji Puri Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I just wanted to share what I heard from Nitai Charan Prabhu once. He said, when we are with non-devotees, you don't have to take their association, but you have to give them your association. So I thought that was quite very nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's not that we don't associate with them. We don't associate with the nonsense that they want to give us.
And Mataji, actually, what that means? When you say to some new person, you give them an association, that new person might get confused. How do I give them association? It is by how you walk, how you talk, how you behave, how you live life. That is going to be your association. So you're going to be a walking model of Krishna's bhakti in front of them. So this is how we have to, work. This is how we are going to give them our association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Let's do a couple of rounds. Swashi Mataji would like to start, and then Puri Mataji. Thank you. Hari Hari Bol.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपदाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चातारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासति गौर भक्त बिंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. And we'll catch up again next Friday. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol.